Welcome to episode 2 of the Publishing Life podcast with your hosts Mikkelsen Twins and Alex Kerr. I want to ask quickly, should we get one of those epic intros where you get like some radio host to do like, welcome to the Publishing Life podcast, you're going to learn all that stuff, or should we just do it the way I did it now?
That's a good question. I just don't want it to annoy people. You know, like those 30-second long ones are too much.
Yeah, I think they're kind of dumb. Just because everyone does it doesn't mean we should do it. Everyone skips it anyway.
Yeah.
I skip it when I listen to it. So
okay, let's not do that. Let's do it our own way. We don't need that corny stuff.
I like that. Let's not do that then.
All right. In today's episode, we want to tell our story, how we got started, what we've been through in our entrepreneurial journey over the last few years, and how we got to this point we're at right now, and where exactly we are at right now. So there's a lot to say, a lot to talk about. It'll be me and Christian telling, our entire story, and then we'll have a separate one for Alex. And this is just as much for each other to really know all the details of our past. So
yeah. So we'll try and do this in like a nice chronological, organized manner. We'll do our best to keep everything not jumping around. But I think the best way to do this is to start from the beginning.
Yeah. That does make sense to start at the beginning.
It does, doesn't it?
Last thing I want to say, I've heard people say that they cannot tell the difference in our voices between me and Christian.
I can't tell the difference either.
I have no advice to be able to tell you like, oh, if this is this, then it's me. If it's that, then it's Christian. I don't know. And to be honest, it doesn't really matter who's talking. It's one of us. Like, who cares who it is?
Yeah, but it is a little bit annoying listening to it and being like, I don't know which one it is. Like, you want to be able to create that separation, knowing who's talking. But even when I listen, I don't know.
I disagree. It's clear. It's very clear, actually. It's it's quite distinct, and I think the new mics will help with that too. But I guess listen closer to anyone who says that. People say that they can't tell the difference between you two either, but for me, it's super, super easy.
Yeah.
The beard helps a lot. I will say, when you guys are both clean shaven, it is a little bit difficult.
With the same haircut and all, yeah.
Yeah, that can be difficult. But with the beards, it's super easy.
Me and Rasmus have a weird thing where we like looking similar. We like looking like each other. A lot of other twins are like, no, I don't look like him. I have to look very different. I don't like that kind of energy. I want to embrace the twin love, the twin life. Yeah. Looking the same. That's one of the gifts that we got when we were born twins.
Precisely.
So
my brother hates it.
Yeah, I realized that.
Yeah, right. During that Q&A call, yeah.
I told him, you do look a lot like Alex. He's like, no, I don't. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right,
yeah, you
Christian,
do.
take us back to the beginning. Let's see. I mean, we're not going to start the day we were born. So let's see. Where do we start? Sort of when this change in our life from employee to online business owner.
Yeah, let's start talking about what life was like, like just before things got kind of clicked. Not clicked, but things turned around. It was a paradigm shift. It was like flipping our world upside down. So let's talk about what life was like right before that.
So I could say the kind of person I was before we got into all this, and all this is also self-development. So the person I was before I had any sort of growth and was just the sort of natural person I was. So this takes us back to high school. Mm-hmm. When I was in high school, I was, and Christian, you say you often disagree with this, and that's fine. We are two different people, but this was my experience. I was, if you were to ask people in our class or in our grade, I might be voted as the quietest person in the entire grade out of like 300
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that at all.
I was so shy, would never raise my hand in class, and would get anxiety if I knew that there might be a chance that the teacher would call my name, or we had to get into groups and work with other people. And I assume it's pretty normal for people to feel this way, but I was really on the far end of the spectrum. So when people see us now making videos, talking comfortably and confidently, to a bunch of people, like if you asked them back then, they would say these guys are the last people you would ever expect to be filming YouTube videos, having a podcast, doing whatever the hell they're doing. We were invisible, unnoticed by all the girls and guys and teachers.
So that was elementary, middle school, high school, through the entire 12 grades of school. Like you were saying, in high school, I could go an entire year in a class with almost saying not a single word. The entire year. And sometimes when you get picked on to have to read a prompt out loud or answer a question, even though you don't raise your hand, they want you to answer a question. I would hate that. I would freak out when I had to ever talk in class. And especially, the worst was having to do some sort of presentation in class. You have to make a slide deck, then you have to do a presentation about Abraham fucking Lincoln and all that. I remember dreading that stuff. And to this day, I would say the big thing that both of us have yet to overcome would be the whole public speaking side of things. I definitely get super anxiety before public speaking. So nervous.
If it's on the stage where you have dozens of people looking at you, yes. But in a classroom setting, I feel comfortable now. But I hope that this can inspire people or just let people know, to you guys that feel the exact same way or felt the exact same way, you can change. You can easily change. Just because you are that person doesn't mean that you're going to be that way forever.
Yes.
You can overcome that fear. And overcoming that completely changed my life. And that happened at a later point, so we will get to that. But that's sort of what life was like for us early on.
Yeah.
Lazy, just so mediocre at everything.
Wherever you're starting right now, the person that you are right now does not dictate anything about where you're going to go in the future. Everything can change. I think this is an incredibly important lesson, and we're very extreme proof of it because, like you're saying, went from extremely shy to now, I feel like someone who can actually be useful in society.
So I think the turning point for us was either 2015. We had just moved back home with our parents, and we didn't really know what to do with our lives. I think we had like a meeting together, and we agreed that enough's enough. Like, we are the biggest losers. We don't do anything that contributes to the world. All we do is take, and we're just kind of just useless, just existing, And I think we both agreed that it was freaking pathetic, and that was enough. So what we decided is let's enroll in community college and let's just do the best we can there. We developed this pent up ambition, but I had no idea what to do with it. So I said, okay, let's put it into school at this community college and just do the best we can.
Russ, I actually want to take a step back before we get into this. I really want to get into this extremely, but I want to provide a little bit more context on the whole situation. So first, super quickly, we were born in New Jersey, United States, on May 17th, 1995. Lived in New Jersey for the most part for the first 18 years of our life. Then we moved to Denmark for 2 years, and that's kind of where I want to start. When we were living in Denmark in an apartment in the city, that was, I'll speak for myself at least, my low point. Where we were living in this apartment, getting high basically every day for about a month straight. That was what kind of triggered it towards the end. But
was it longer than that? It was multiple months.
Yeah, I know, but there was one specific month when you went home and I stayed in Denmark. This was the first time we'd ever been apart in our lives. That's when I went off the deep end. But before you left and we got separated for a month, we were just working these random jobs. Was never able to hold on to a job for more than tops 6 weeks before we would get fired. We were the most unreliable workers in the world, and this was when I realized I hate working for someone else with such a passion that I don't want to live this life. I don't want to do this. But at that time, I didn't know there was another option. So we would just jump around from job to job to job to job, hating every single one of them, to the point where like I would rather not have these jobs and just stay at home and be a lazy bum, which was certainly not effective in any way. But anyway.
So the job we held down the longest was, what was it? It was emptying containers down by the harbor in Aarhus, Denmark. Yes. And how long did that last? Maybe 4 months. And it was maybe 2 to 3 times a week. And at the end, we made up some reason not to come in. And then we didn't come for a whole week. And then they basically just said,
don't ever come in again.
You're like, and they're like, yeah, I agree. This is not a fit.
Yeah.
That's when I went back to the U.S. You were in Denmark all on your own, and that's when you started smoking pot to the max. Yeah. And a few months later, you joined me in New Jersey, and then that's sort of what I was telling about before, where we had a meeting and said, enough's enough.
Now we can get into this. We really had like a twin meeting. I think it was in the pool where we talked together, and we're both like, we're embarrassed by where our lives were going.
Mm-hmm. Who we are.
Yeah, and who we were, just achieving absolutely nothing.
When our parents talk to us, to their other friends, like, what in the world could they possibly say that would, make us sound good? There's nothing to say about us, and that's just a really sad thought. We have that about yourself.
Right. They didn't have any expectations of us, and rightfully so. They had no reason to have any expectations of us. But yeah, we had that conversation, and then, like you said, we had built up a lot of ambition in us to be like, let's turn this shit around. Let's become successful, whatever that meant. We didn't know what that meant at that time. We didn't know what to do with this energy, this ambition that we had. So then we both agreed, all right, let's enroll in community college, 20 minutes from where we were living, because we were living back at home with mom and dad again. And we're like, let's just commit our everything to school and to going to college. And our goal was, first semester, let's have A's and B's on our report card at the end of the semester. That's it.
It wasn't straight A's? Wasn't that what we agreed on?
No, we didn't have the confidence to go for straight A's.
Okay.
But then the first semester, both of us had perfect A's. Like, they didn't do A+. A was the highest. We had a perfect A in every single class that we did in the first semester. Then we're like, okay, that helped build some confidence. Then we went into the second semester. We're like, let's try and do that again. Let's try and do perfect A's. We did it before. Let's see if we can do it again. Second semester, again, perfect A's for the both of us. So at this point, we're like 30 for 30 on perfect A's between the two of us.
Yeah, and in that second semester, I think we took what people had called or told us was like the hardest class at the college, which was Bio 101.
That came in the third semester.
Oh, sorry, third semester.
Yeah.
Then
so then
or something as well.
Then the third semester, we had an anatomy class, which everyone said was the hardest class that existed on the campus in this college. And we're like, okay, let's try and do straight A's and everything except for anatomy, where we want to B or higher. And then we went through the third semester, and again, both of us perfect A's across the board.
And it wasn't even close. We weren't like riding the 93, 94. We were at like 98, 99.
No, we had like 103 averages in most of these classes. So yeah, GG, huh? I was very impressed by myself. And
we're the only ones, or maybe one other smarty pants as well.
But
like 40.
This was the time that built up so much confidence for the both of us. That going to college and getting those straight A's in 3 semesters straight really was a gigantic turning point for our self-confidence. We still didn't know making money online was a thing. But
now look, here's one thing that I don't like about telling this part of our story, and is that some people will think, oh, well, shit, these guys are smart guys. So no wonder they could have the success that they've had. They're smart. They just were lazy before, and finally they tried and they got it done. I want to be very clear. I don't know. Maybe I guess other people could tell me if they think I'm kind of a smart guy. Maybe I'm average, slightly above average. I don't know. But the reason why that we did so well in school
had nothing to do with
be honest, we gamed the system. We did all the extra credit. We went on whatever freaking website it was. It chose all the easiest teachers and chose all the easiest classes. Like, we just finagled it. Can you say that?
Mm-hmm.
We just like finagled it so that we got straight A's. And
hold on, I'm going to stop you right here.
Yeah.
Now you're twisting it as if we were able to do this because we were able to game the system. No, we were able to do this because we committed our fucking everything to this. We were studying every single day.
Let me finish. So we did these things, right? I just want to say it's not because we're super intellectual or anything. But on the other side, like you said, we committed to it and we made it our only priority in life. And, we had, what is school really? It's just memorization. And you don't need to be a freaking genius to memorize. You just need to commit the time to it. And that's all we did. So we would take the notes twice a day. I would read through all the notes and slowly you memorize more and more. And then by the end you have it memorized. And then you take the test and then that information is freaking gone. I don't have a freaking clue about anything that I learned, but I could memorize it for that 1 hour taking that exam.
Yep. To wrap it up in like one sentence about how we did it is we focused on memorizing. That's really what it was. And the way you memorize is to just read over the content that was going to be on the exam, 10 to 20 times in the week leading up to it. So that's all we would do. We would have our notes and I would just read them 1 to 2 times every day for the 1 to 2 weeks leading up to the exam. Then I would go into the exam. I would it would be fresh in my mind. I would memorize it, put in all the answers. And then when the exam was done, I would dump it all out of my brain forever and not retain any part of it.
And this is why the way school works is so freaking stupid.
This is exactly like
memorization.
This is a perfect example of why traditional school is fucking stupid. All we did was we learned how to memorize, game the system in that regard. Like memorizing is gaming the system. And then we got perfect scores. But it really comes down to we were just obsessed with getting those straight A's because we had so much ambition and we just channeled it into this one and only thing.
Yeah. Now, simultaneously, as throughout these 3 semesters, we were also working jobs at the same time. Yes. So, we were putting a lot of hours in total, where into my job, it was maybe 20 hours a week. And then school was maybe 40 hours a week, maybe a bit more. The job that I worked was delivering Chinese food for a Chinese restaurant called China Thai in Flanders, New Jersey, where you're like 3 days a week. It was from like 5:30 to 8, would make a base of $20 and then would get paid tips on top of that. It was all cash, didn't pay taxes, so I'd get maybe $50 a night. So it was pretty solid. But living a life working as a Chinese food delivery driver, Jesus Christ. There's no way I could keep that up.
Here's the 2 biggest benefits of that job.
Yeah.
I'll start with the less important one, which was it was all under the table cash. Yeah, I didn't have to pay any taxes. You got cash and then boom, that was yours. So, but number 2, the biggest one was when you're driving Chinese food for hours on end, you could just sit and we could feed our brains with amazing information. So that's when we would listen to podcasts and YouTube videos. And at this point, it was just self-help, motivation, self-development, how to level up your mindset, stuff like that while we were driving. And that was massively beneficial.
Yeah. So to be honest, to anyone that sort of is in a similar position as to where we were back then, I would always recommend a delivery job because you can learn at the same time.
I agree.
Pretty chill.
100%.
It's not a torturous job like the one you had.
Yeah. So I was also delivering Chinese food, but I was doing 2 days a week. So like 8 hours a week. And then I was working as front desk secretary at a physical therapy office, like 4 days a week.
What was your pay?
It was $11.25 an hour. No. That was after my raise. Before the raise, it was $10.75 an hour. Then I got a raise after like 6 months to $11.25 an hour.
50-cent raise.
Yeah, that 50-cent raise, baby. So, I hated that job, but I was committed to it because I knew that I wanted money. So
we were very money focused. I'm trying to get rich and all this.
I was okay with working the jobs at that point because I knew that this was just a part of the process.
Yes.
Working these jobs, saving up money, getting money to invest in whatever we wanted to do was just a part of the process. So I was kind of excited to go to work knowing like I'm doing my duty here. I'm working on a plan. Working this job is a part of that plan.
It was very clear that like I would never continue life with a job like this, but we knew that before we got these jobs. We knew they were temporary. They were just to make some money in the meantime. Mm-hmm. Now, let's see. The first 2 semesters, all we did was work and focus on schoolwork, right?
Yeah.
Then it was the 3rd semester.
It was between the 2nd and 3rd semester was summer break, and it was over that summer where we discovered the world of, for lack of a better term, making money online, or better would be entrepreneurship. But it really is making money online entrepreneurship. Had no clue this existed. None. No idea. And then when I found this stuff online, I just found it by searching online, how to make more money, make money online, just search something, and then poof, opened up our existences to a whole new world. Mm-hmm. And that's when everything changed, really.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, once we decided that, okay, this is what we want to do. This is how we're going to get rich. This is how we're going to escape that shitty job life. We didn't give a damn about getting our college degrees. We had gotten 3 semesters, well, at that point 2. We had 3 semesters of straight perfect A's, and I didn't give one shit about getting that degree. And our parents said, because this is a 2-year degree, so it was 4 semesters in total. Our parents said, just do the last semester. Just finish it. Just finish it. We're like, no, but I don't want to. Are you fucking crazy? Are you an idiot? Just suck it up and get the degree. And I said, no, I will not get this degree because it's counterproductive to what I want. This gives me a backup plan. Oh, that's what they said. Just have it as a backup plan. Like, I'm not going to have a backup plan. If I have a backup plan, that means that I'm like expecting or saying there's a chance that this entrepreneurship thing won't work out.
It gives you an out.
I fucking hate that mindset. Backup, hell, like it would be worse to have that degree than not to have it. So no, hell no. And our parents obviously didn't believe in us. I mean, you don't know anyone who has a big successful online business, so you can't blame them for feeling that way. So we had to drop out, without telling them, which is kind of a little bit later on in the story. But that was while we'd already started.
We went into the 4th semester. We'd signed up for classes. We said, okay, we'll do it. That's what we said. We said we'll do it. But the truth was, like, we had made, we weren't doing all the classes we were supposed to. And then we were telling mom and dad, because they were like, you guys are home all the time. Don't you have your classes to go to? We're like, no, it's all online this semester. Last semester is all online. Mm-hmm. So that's what we would be saying. But we were taking like 1 or 2 classes, just to get out of the house, to kind of provide this like facade of we were actually doing schoolwork. Yeah. But in reality, we were at home working on publishing. Mm-hmm. And not you started with something else, but
yeah. So let's backtrack to that. In the summer of 2016, we sat down. We're like, okay, we're going to do this online business thing. We had no idea what to get into. We knew nothing. But after doing our research, we had boiled it down to a list of maybe like 5 different online businesses we wanted to try out. And what we said was, all right, Christian, you do one online business. I'm going to try another one. We're both going to do it for like 6 months to a year. And whichever one has more success, the other one's going to jump into that one.
Yeah.
This is just a way of split testing quickly, so we don't have to spend a whole year on one business and a whole year on another. We could do 2 at the same time. And to be honest, the plan worked perfectly because you started with publishing, I started with drop shipping, and then a year later, you had way more success in publishing, and then I jumped over into publishing. So it kind of worked picture perfectly.
I'll say this: when I started, I was super guilty of the shiny object syndrome. Like, I tried a bunch of things at once. Mm-hmm. I tried to make this video editor app because I'd watched this webinar where a dude pitched you on like, oh, I'll give you the code to this video editor app. All you have to do is rebrand it, put it on the App Store, and you'll make tons of money.
Freaking Chad Moretta.
I mean,
Empire. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, something like that. All I remember was it was like a super buggy app that totally did not work. And I don't think the monetization model was very effective. Not saying it couldn't work. There was 100% certainty it could work. And the fact that it didn't was my own fault 100%. But at that time, I couldn't really see it in that light. But I tried that. I was also getting into selling like tent supplies, camping supplies on some website with like some drop shipping stuff. But then also doing this publishing. Now, the guy that really opened us up to the world of making money online was Stephen James from Project Life Mastery. He was the guy that I was listening to in the car all the time, driving around. He was really good at motivating, really smart guy, really good at just helping complete newbies step into this world. So I just remember listening to him. And one of the things he talks a lot about is Kindle publishing. So bought his course. It was only like $200, maybe it was $100, and then started with that. And
so we have to pay respect where it's due. He was there, the guy that we listened to right in the beginning. Now we kind of moved on pretty quickly from his advice, but totally helped us so much in the beginning.
Absolutely. So I also want a quick context on like what Kindle publishing is for people that don't know. If you know us, then you obviously know. But it's publishing now and Kindle publishing back then are kind of different. Yeah, I mean, they're still very similar. It's self-publishing, where you write books or you have books written by a ghostwriter, which is the model that we follow, and I recommend most people do, because it's a very unfair expectation to have any random person just write a book. That's not easy. No. So we work with ghostwriters, have books written, and then we publish them on Amazon, on different online publishing platforms, have it narrated, turned into an audiobook, sell it on Audible, and you can very quickly and easily build a full-time online business doing this. And that was what I discovered back then. Crazy. So that was what I got into. You got into dropshipping.
I got into dropshipping. And let's see, 12 months later, I bought a course called Dropship Lifestyle, started my dropshipping store. Now, what I'm about to say, when I sold it 12 months later, I sold it, which is a positive thing, signed an NDA that I wouldn't disclose what I was selling or the store. But that store doesn't exist anymore. I've gone to the website and it's like closed now. So I can talk about it. So what I was selling was electric bikes. Now, I mean, I feel like I must have had a pretty good instinct back then. This is 2016, before electric bikes were really popular. I don't know what it's like in America, but in Europe, electric bikes have blown up. So I was kind of ahead of the trend there. And the name of my dropshipping store was Zappy Wheels. Zap, like electricity wheels bikes. Get it? I thought it was pretty cool. That is a pretty cool logo.
That's good.
I thought you were going to be the star child in the family.
I did too. I had some ups and downs. Dude, it's so crazy. When you sell that first electric bike for like $800, like I think I actually had a tear running down my cheek. It's so surreal. That first dollar, you're like, oh my God, this is real. It's working. This is crazy. And I had a lot of ups and downs throughout those 12 months of having that dropshipping store. I peaked out at, in terms of revenue, I think like $21,000 in revenue. Okay, revenue. And that equated to my best month in terms of profit, which was $2,200. That was my best profit month. Then the next month, I would sell like $8,000 with electric bikes, and my profit would be like minus $700. So the profit margins were razor thin, and I was just chasing my tail the whole time with Google ad spend to try and make back with each sale what I just spent in ads. Yeah. And I was constantly working on this thing, constantly getting new products, constantly doing customer support, like grinding my ass off. I honestly felt like this is a point where I was grinding, and Christian, you were sort of lazy. That's just how I felt from my perspective. So I was working really hard.
Totally not the case, but okay.
That was my perspective. So over the course of the whole year, I about broke even, maybe was in a positive of maybe like $2,000, but my revenue was like average of $10,000 a month. And then I sold it for $17,000. So when you have like $1,000 and you get $17,000 at once, it feels like 10 million.
Dude,
I felt like the biggest stud ever getting a $17,000 direct deposit at that time when I was super broke. Yeah. I was like, yo, I'm balling, fam. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, that was super sick. But so while you were doing that, overall, super impressive endeavor on your end that you were able to do that as your first thing and make it all work seamlessly. I think it's just a testament to, staying focused and committed to one thing, and like just making smart decisions.
Yeah. So I knew it worked. I feel like a lot of people are so skeptical as to whenever online businesses work or not, whether they work or not, and then they get started and within a month, 2 or 3, they don't see results, they give up. And I didn't really make any money, but in the beginning, but clearly I could make profit. I know I could, so just keep trying. So I stay committed to that one business for a whole year, which in the grand scheme is a pretty long time. I would say I gave it a really fair shot. And I think a lot of other people don't put all their energy and effort into one thing for a whole year. But yeah. I think a year, not saying it's like the magic number, but if you do put all your efforts into one thing for a whole year, you will see something. And I mean real effort, consistent effort.
Yes.
But I guess that's the challenge, is getting people to actually do that.
Here's the thing. Every single online business model works. Okay. So people, you're right. A lot of people think, does it even work? Motherfucker, of course it works. Mm-hmm. But will you make it work? That's the question. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anyway, let's progress this story. You were doing that. I got started in publishing, following Stephen James, and what he was teaching was making 5,000 word long ebooks. So
pamphlets? Pamphlets.
Yep, pamphlets. Basically, they're like 30 pages long. And let's see, the topics of my first few books, one was real estate investing, one was keto diet, one was IIFYM, flexible dieting. Another one was like confidence, something like that. But I came up with 5. Oh, one of them I wrote myself. It was how to be a 4.0 GPA college student. Mm-hmm. That I wrote myself. I wrote it in literally one waking day. From the morning to the evening, I was done with it. And it was 5,000 words. Yeah. And I actually thought it was a really good book. Listen, a book does not have to be long to be good. A good book can be only 5,000 words long. But I don't think you can't build a publishing business around short pamphlet long books. Anyway.
That book today still makes money every single month.
Like, I don't log in and check, but it might have made a sale today. It certainly made a sale this month. It's made sales every single month since 2016. Because it's just
self-written. I don't want to call it bad, but come on, it's not a great. We can't call it a great book.
I just called it
a good. Consistently 5 years later.
Yeah, it is wild. It is wild. Mm-hmm. But then I launched that stuff. Obviously, I wasn't perfect at it. I didn't get a ton of reviews. Didn't have great covers. Didn't have great titles. But I put it out. Made a ton of mistakes, and then still, it made some money. I was like, okay, like
a few hundred per month, right? Like $250-ish.
Yeah, like about $200 a month, $200 to $300 a month from those 5 books. I'm like, okay, this can work. In between this, after I launched those books, I'll be super quick at this. I ended up getting scammed for $3,000 by a guy on Upwork who would make 10 books for me, and I gave him $3,000 online, and then never heard from him again. So I lost $3,000 right there. That was pretty traumatic, and I learned, don't take shortcuts, don't send wire transfers to people online that you don't know. But I took a few months break to recover from that traumatic experience.
You had maybe $4,000 in the bank account,
and I gave him $3,000 to him. Yeah, but I took a few months break. And in that time, the 5 short books I put up still made $200 to $300 to maybe even $400 one month. And I was doing nothing on them. I was like, yo, there's something here. I've now made a profit on these after just a few short months. Let me jump back into this. So then I jumped back into it. And then it was just month over month over month. January 2017, I think I hit my first $1,000 a month. Then I hit a $2,000 a month. Then a $3,000. Then a $4,000. Then a $5,000. Then an $8,000. And then I ended up hitting my first $10,000 a month in December 2017.
So that was maybe 15 months. 16 months after you published your first book.
Something like that. Russ, I feel like something happened to your audio.
Yeah, is it not so good?
Now it's back. It sounded bad for a second there.
So yeah, you were steadily making more and more from your publishing business. I was grinding on my dropshipping business, making maybe the same amount as you, but while I felt like I was working way harder, I was like constantly checking emails and doing customer support and stuff like that.
I mean, for a long time, you were going up and down with your income, and you couldn't grow it. But me, I was growing it every single month, and then we got to a point where I was making double and triple what you were making, and you were putting in you're right. It did seem like you were putting in more hours. And then we're like, okay, this publishing stuff is pretty sick. Then you published one book. I think it was a barbecue cookbook, barbecue recipes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was a ribs cookbook.
But that wasn't the first one I published. That wasn't the first one.
Right. But that one you published, and it took off, dude.
Yes. That was crazy. That was so crazy.
It made like $2,000 in the first month.
That was so not that much, but it was crazy how I was like, yo, what's going on?
Yeah. It just started getting so many sales. I don't know what happened. But then
that wasn't the first book I published though.
Okay. You made some workout books, I think.
Yeah, it was a CrossFit top 50 CrossFit workouts to get in the best shape of your life. I think that was the exact title.
That one crushed it as well.
Yeah, that was, I hate to say, I wish I had the story that said first book I published, didn't make much money, so I didn't make much money, learned from my mistakes. All of a sudden, I sort of figured it out. But the first book I ever published actually did pretty good. It made $850 in that first month. I wrote it myself completely. Once again, we didn't have much money, and I wasn't completely convinced that this was, a great business model. I don't know. I didn't know much at the time. I just decided to write it myself. Didn't want to risk any money, and took maybe 2 or 3 days to write. Pretty simple. Found some CrossFit workouts online, wrote some descriptions about it and some motivational stuff, I guess, and published it. And $850 in that first month. And then I did the barbecue recipes cookbook that you told about, and the Python programming, I think. And I think those were like the first 3 books that I published. And then I was like, okay, I see potential with this dropshipping business. I'm just go all in on that. And then over the next 6 months, while I was grinding at my
this is amazing. This part's amazing.
While I was grinding in my dropshipping store, I was fluctuating in income, maybe an average of $500 a month. Let's just say that over the next 6 months, going up and down. But then these books, which I was not spending a second working on, made me like, I think it was $2,200 in the second month.
Yeah, they were making like $2,000 a month consistently without you doing anything.
It tapered off a tiny bit. At the end, it was like maybe 1,200 after 6 months. But I recently added it all up because I'm writing a book, sort of telling the story. After 6 months, put so many hours in the dropshipping business, made maybe like $1,000 in profit. While these books, while not having spent a second on them after I'd initially published them, maybe $9,500 in profit in 6 months.
Yeah.
While the dropshipping store maybe like 1,000, I was grinding my ass off on it. That's when it was so freaking obvious. Like, okay, I got to dump this dropshipping business and go all in on publishing. Because at this point, you were also making like $4,000 or $5,000 a month. I was like, shoot.
Yeah.
Like what the? So that's when I sold a dropshipping store. Kind of annoying process, but I got 17,000 there. I was like, yo, this is sick. And then I went all in on publishing.
Yes. And then from there. Yeah, I mean, that's how we got started in the whole publishing stuff. So let's fast forward a little bit. I don't want to take too long about it. I want to fast forward to when we started making YouTube videos. So we were doing publishing for like... Can
I backtrack quickly?
Sure.
Some details that I want to throw in there. So we talked about 2 stories, which are happening at the same time. There was the college story, dropping out, and then publishing at the same time. So it was around 6 months into you did publishing that we decided to drop out because we're like, okay, we're actually making money. And this is what we're going to do. I don't want to spend more time in school. Here's my logic. School is something that I don't like. I don't like it, and it costs money, and it's taking time away from something that I do like, makes me money, and I really enjoy doing. So like those 3 pillars, like when I line them up, it made no freaking sense to continue with school.
It was pure common sense to drop out. It was pure common sense. That's all it was.
So then we dropped out without telling our parents, and just instead of working online in school like our parents thought, we were working on our businesses.
I'm sorry for talking over you.
Yes.
Right there. I thought you were going to stop. I was just saying, we obviously couldn't tell our parents, so we dropped out without telling them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember there was a lot of resistance on that. But then I think it was November 2017, That's when we were fully dropped out, and then we booked one-way tickets to Thailand.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember we told them for the first time over the summer, yeah, we're going to go to Thailand. They
didn't believe us.
To them, it was like the most insane thought ever. Idea. Like, what? What in the world are you talking about?
Right.
What?
Yeah, they didn't take it seriously for like 6 months. We're like, no, we want to go to Thailand. We want to go to Thailand. They're like, oh, that's cute, guys. Okay. But it's because, listening to this make money online world and that stuff, digital nomad comes up, where when you make money from your computer, you're your own boss. You can do it from anywhere in the world. You can live anywhere.
If you got Wi-Fi and a laptop, you're good.
Yeah. And, getting out and going to the other side of the world, there's so much to see. If you have not traveled outside of your little circle, I feel sorry for you. Not in a bad way, but I'm excited for you to expand your consciousness when you do leave the circle you've been in your entire life. People were talking about Chiang Mai, Thailand, because you can go there for $1,000 a month. You can live like a king. Maybe $1,500.
Solid, really good. 1,500.
Everything. It's literally everything in Chiang Mai, Thailand is 75 to 80% discounted. It's like it's just a fire sale on everything. Yeah. Rent, you can get amazing food for $2. Yeah. Rent, we got this 3-bedroom penthouse for like what?
$1,500.
$1,500 a month.
Which is pretty expensive at that time. Yeah. But we wanted to do it.
So that was what started our traveling life, because we've done a lot of traveling since. To name it.
Really. Ever since then, we've been traveling. Yeah. We haven't had a home, like a home until now, for me at the very least. Yeah. Yeah. 2017 to 2020, 3.5 years, I'd say.
Right.
Just living out of a suitcase. Living out of a suitcase the whole time.
Up until COVID hit. Living out of a suitcase. Yeah. So to name a few places, Thailand, we spent a lot of time in Bali. I spent 5 months in Australia, Croatia, Spain.
6 months in Hawaii.
In Mexico. We spent 6 months in Hawaii. Japan,
Denmark.
Egypt, Italy,
Maldives.
Maldives was crazy. There. So we did that over just a span of 2 years from the motherfucking publishing business, just selling books through Amazon, being able to do that. It was the freaking dream,
Like, there's nothing that compares to that first time.
No,
let's say the first time you have sex. The first time is just like way better than, you know what I mean? So
the first time I had sex was horrible, but let's not get into that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Bad example.
Right, bad example. First time falling in love, I don't know. But the first time you do a thing, in this case, it was making money and traveling. I can never match that same level of hype and happiness and excitement. It's just once you've done it before and you do it again, you can't match it. So that was the most insane experience of our entire lives. Those couple years traveling and making money and just doing whatever the hell we wanted. My God, good times.
Yeah.
I want to highlight really quickly though, like publishing didn't just allow you guys to do that on a financial level. It the freedom that you had from the nature of the publishing business let you actually travel. Like if you were drop shipping at that time, there's no fucking way you would have been able to enjoy any, like not even 50%, not even like 20% of what you guys actually experienced. Yeah, you could hire a VA, blah, blah, blah. But you still have the stress. You still have the stress that maybe this month I'm not going to make any profit. And how much money do I have in the bank account? Publishing just works. And there's no overhead really. The books just sell. It's really that simple.
Could not have said it better myself, because it's the nature of the business itself. It's not the money that we made that allows us to do this stuff. It's the fact that you can literally step away from it for 60 days, literally not open your laptop if you don't want to, and then come back and still get paid however much you were making every month. Granted that your books keep on selling, which if you do everything right, they for the most part will.
What I was about to say.
It's the nature of it that allowed for the freedom that was so life-changing, not the making $5,000 a month part.
I was about to say that the biggest benefit to publishing, it's not that it's what's going to make you more money than any other business model. But then I just thought, I mean, you can actually scale it to $100,000 a month plus, but I won't go down that path now. But it's not the explosive kind of business model. Really.
Right.
It's more so make $5,000 to $10,000 a month, but do it while having the opportunity and low stress, have the opportunity to travel and have all this freedom.
It's the ultimate low stress lifestyle kind of business. As cheesy as that sounds, but it's, can I fast forward a little bit? It's not really fast forwarding, but awesome. So, December 2017, I remember I hit my first $10,000 a month in royalties, not profit. Profit was probably 50% of that, or 60, it doesn't matter. We were in Thailand, and then a few months later, we went to Hawaii. Because on the way back from Thailand to New Jersey, we're like, let's stop in Hawaii. And then you had this brilliance of a fucking idea. Mm-hmm. You said this, sitting at our dining room table in Thailand. You said, why don't we just live there? Mm-hmm. And when you said that, I was like, yo, oh my God. I didn't even consider that was possible. But you're right. It was possible.
And then within 30 seconds, we had called up our best friend. You're like, yo, we're going to move to Hawaii. You have to come with us. You have to come with us. Yep. It's going to be the most insane thing of our entire lives. And long story short, we got him convinced.
Yeah, and I will say the 6 months we were in Hawaii was probably like the most euphoric 6 months of my life.
Yes. That was when we really got to experience cool shit.
It was like on pure ecstasy almost every single day living in Hawaii with you, me, and one of our best friends, Max. And a lot of why it was so amazing is everything that ensued from there. Mm-hmm. That's when we got into like proper personal development. We both commit ourselves to not just, this making money online, but let's just become the best versions of ourselves we could possibly be. So that meant, dieting, losing weight, getting in shape, working on our self-confidence, working on these skills that we knew we didn't have, and just becoming the best versions that we could be. And then oh man, I wish I could show pictures, but I went from being 200 pounds down to being 150 lean. I was way too skinny, but I had bulging abs, and
That's crazy. You lost 50 pounds.
I lost 50 pounds. I never once in my life thought that was possible. I was convinced, because we've been working out, going to the gym since we were 14, obsessed with it, still am now, super obsessed. I was always convinced that my genetics had me have this layer of like puppy fat on me. I thought it was just my genetics and I couldn't lose it. But it's because I'd never fully committed to dieting and getting lean. But when we went to Hawaii, I started that. Holy shit, we got diced. I was looking amazing. And that changed my life with self-confidence. I could finally like put pictures on Tinder, get matches, go on dates, get laid. I was able to get laid finally in my life, so that was incredible. And then here's the biggest turning point.
At 22 years old.
Yeah, at 22 years old. That's when I started being able to get laid. Then we started making YouTube videos. And here's why we started making YouTube videos. We were doing this publishing stuff, and I knew I didn't want to do this forever. I was ready to take that next step. I was ready to do something bigger, do something different, something's going to challenge us, something that can lead to bigger endeavors. And I'd run into some problem with my publishing accounts and bullshit like that. So I was like, I was
about to say, you got to keep it real as to what really, like, we had talked about making YouTube videos for so long.
We talked about it.
We're so goddamn afraid of it. We would make excuses, and it just never ended up happening. But there was one thing that forced us to make YouTube videos.
Yeah. So I think it was like March 2017 or 2018. Yeah, March 2018. I got my KDP account suspended because I had done some dumb shit where I took my books and I had translated them into other languages. So first time I tried it, I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. Let me just, have it translated by Google Translate, put it into Spanish, put it out there, and then just see like what happens. This is a little test run, see what happens. I put it out there. That book with no reviews, nothing, starts selling really well. I'm like, oh my God, okay. At this point, I'm just like a greedy, stupid, fucking 21-year-old who just wants to make money. And I didn't really care how. So then I'm like, okay, let me put it into Italian. Oh shit, it worked again. And like there were no expenses and shit like that. I just plopped it in, had it translated, looked through it, looks good, formatted it, and then put it up. And then I did it again in German, Portuguese. I'm like, oh my God, they're all working. And then I started doing my other books. And then, through volume, it added like an extra 2,000-ish per month in income through sales, through these just ones. I didn't have to do any work. And then, after a few months, then got a lot of like poor quality notices from people like reporting the book, saying like, this is trash, because obviously it fucking was. Some people get mad about the fact that I've done this. Be like, I'm completely open and honest about it. And I say it was the dumbest thing in the world. And it's a mistake that I learned from and would never, ever do anything like that again. But anyway,
hold on. I want to just share my thoughts on this for a second, because that is that's kind of like the biggest criticism that we get these days. As these guys, they've been terminated from Amazon. Right. They're not even allowed to sell books on Amazon. How can you trust these guys? Yeah. They're scammers. They're this, that. And it's like, it's funny you did this. You are completely open about this stupid mistake you made. Ridiculous, so stupid of you to do, and then we learn from it, and then we'd never do anything like that again. I would never advise anyone to do anything like that. Yep. It was stupid. It was really idiotic. And then let's see, that happened, and then 2 or 3 months later, you still had some books ready to publish, and you
put them on your account.
You had the ebook and the print book published, but you still wanted the audiobook made. So then you took my account against my permission. You claimed your books on my account and started publishing, turning them into audiobooks. And then, of course, there was a connection very clear to make like, okay, these books have previously been terminated. Now they're up on this account. Now we got to terminate this account. And then via association to you, I had my publishing account terminated as well. I've never done anything that's not allowed, but I'm not allowed to publish on Amazon because of that. So I just want to make that completely clear.
Yes. So I remember like, shortly after we started making YouTube videos, and one of my first YouTube videos was like how I got my account terminated or something like that. And here's the thing, like you and me, we just don't know any other way than being 100% transparent, 100% honest, 100% open. It's just the way I think Dad raised us. While most other people, horrible liar. And then most other people would fucking try and hide all their mistakes. No, I haven't done this, haven't done that. Yeah, I made stupid mistakes by being a young 21-year-old. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on this. But got that account terminated, started questioning everything. And then it was like do or die time. Okay, we got to move on, or we got to find something else we can do.
Look, we were living in Hawaii, and our income stream has just been cut off, vanished overnight. And then we thought to ourselves, either we go back home to our parents, tell them that we failed, we messed up. You were right. We should have graduated. We should have gotten a job. We should have done all this. Or we would grab our freaking nuts and then start filming these stupid ass YouTube videos that we were so terrified of filming. It was one or the other. And when it came to that, it wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't easy. But the decision made itself. There's no way I was going to go home and put myself in that situation and quit.
Yeah. Also, I want to say I lost my Amazon account, but not my ACX Audible account. So I was still getting paid like, $5,000 plus a month through my audiobook sales. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, we can still survive and shit. Then we started making YouTube videos because it was do or die. We didn't know what to talk about. We're like, we'll talk about the one thing we have some experience in now, which is, making money with self-publishing. And then we committed to making one video every other day. And people can go check out our first videos. They are god-awful dog shit, garbage. Ugh, they're so bad. But, we just put them out there. And then you can see what we were like on camera and as people back then.
Look. Speaking on camera was the biggest fear of my entire life. I had done everything my whole life to avoid ever having to do it. I always use this example because it's true. If I was invited to a party, as if I got invited to parties. I didn't get invited to parties, I guess hypothetically. And I knew that I had a friend there who likes to film stories for Instagram, and there was a chance that he could all of a sudden just put the camera on me and I'd have to say something, do something. I kind of I don't want to potentially put myself in that situation. I
just wouldn't go out.
Let's not go to that party that I didn't get invited to. So just to share how insanely terrified I was of talking on camera. And look, to be honest, at that time, if you weren't there to do it with me and for us to do it together, I might have taken that path of going back home and doing something else. Like, that's how terrified I was.
Maybe you would have made that decision.
Because you were there, we did it together. And yeah, you took the lead role on it. Because
as I always do. That's my personality in this relationship.
It's true. You've always been the leader of us two.
Yeah.
I have my other strong suits, but being the one to step up when it really matters is more so you. Yeah. I have no shame in saying that.
Of course you don't, and that's okay. But we started making these YouTube videos. I want to fast track it a little bit just so this isn't 4 hours long.
Yeah.
We were making YouTube videos every other day, and we did it. We didn't miss a single upload for 6 months. And we just made random videos that had to do with publishing, how to title your book, how to get a cover made, how to do this, how to do that. And just slowly over time, first video got some views, next video got some more, third one got a bit more. Slowly over time, they just got more and more and more. And then after just like a few months, we had a fucking following on YouTube of people who loved us. Mm-hmm. It was crazy. And I think why they loved us is because we were just two relatable twins that could be themselves, and we're just honest, and that wasn't this kind of guru trying to front on shit.
We made stupid jokes. We made really stupid,
horrible jokes,
stupid things in videos.
Yeah, but people, it was entertaining. People liked
silly.
Watching.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. But people fell in love with the personalities or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. Then we just continued, and over time we started talking about audiobooks because audiobooks was starting to kill it for me. And then people were like, audiobooks is a good opportunity. And then started sharing some stuff that was working. And then people started making money with it. And then long story short, people were begging us to make a course on how to make money with audiobooks.
We didn't create Audiobook Income Academy until people begged us for it for months and months. They suggested, we said, no, I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't want to be guru course people.
Yeah. But people begged for it. And at that point, I mean, it would be rude of us to not give the people what they wanted. But
no. But we said no. We said no for a long time. Here was what made us do it. Then one of our buddies, Mecca, hits us up. He has his own publishing course. He says, "Hey, can you guys make an audiobook, module in my publishing course? I'll pay you $1,000. I don't know what he said. Maybe we would split some of the money. I don't know. But then I just remember having that call with him, and then we hung up, and then we talked if we're going to do some audiobook publishing course stuff, it's going to be our fucking own shit. It's not going to be someone else's. No. And then, that day we basically decided, okay, let's make an audiobook course, I guess, whatever that looks like and means. I don't know how to do that, but I'll Google how to make it and we'll see what happens. Then I told Emeka, no, thank you. We'll do it on our own. And that's when we started okay, let's make a fucking audiobook course.
So I want to backtrack a tiny bit. If you look at us, during college and the time and effort we put into our college classes, then there was my time dropshipping, your time publishing, along with my time publishing, then our time making YouTube videos. There's a consistent theme throughout all of those ventures. That is that we gave it all of our effort and energy, and we did it consistently every single day, and we didn't give up. That is a character trait that we developed. And that, honestly, that came from our time in college. So as stupid as I think college is and stuff you learn, it changed my life in the way that it gave me that confidence and the understanding that focusing on one thing for a long time will eventually give you the results that you want. So, that was just the people that we were. So then when it came to making the YouTube videos, you could go back and check every other day YouTube video for 8 months in a let's say seven months in a goddamn row. 6, sorry, okay. Every other day for 6 months in a row. That is hard. That is a lot of work. That was really challenging. But we had no excuses for ourselves. We were going to do it no matter what, because that's just what we said we would do. And we knew that that's what we needed to do to achieve the goals we had set.
Right.
We didn't have any particular goals at that time. It would evolve into something. I was sure it would.
The truth is that every single thing we've attempted in the last few years has become massively successful. For example, college, we were out of thousands of people, we were the best in college, grades wise. Went into publishing, did well in it. Others did way better, but we did well in it. Made YouTube videos in the niche, by far number one. In the self-publishing niche, by far number one.
No, I'll let you finish your point first.
And then in the online course space, we could talk about this later. A lot of people aren't aware of. Yeah, we're actually what our course business right now is the exact same one we started with this YouTube shit. It's called the same. Everything's the same. Things have updated and stuff like that. Now in the course game, we're in the top 0.1% in terms of successfulness with an online course business. Mm-hmm. And it's just because you work hard at it, been consistent, and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. What I want to say is when we first started making YouTube videos in March of 2018, I don't know, it's just crazy to think how there was this opportunity for the taking that was given to anyone with publishing. You just have to step up, make consistent videos that, had good information in them, and you would, grow subscribers and eventually have the opportunity to create a course like we did and so on. Anyone could have done that. The opportunity was there for everyone, but we saw it. Sorry, I mumbled there. The opportunity was there for everyone, but we took it and we just freaking
by the nuts. We put those nuts in our mouth and then we just bit it off.
Dude, what the hell are you talking about?
No, but
I don't know. It's just crazy to think about. Anyone could have done what we did, but it wasn't anyone else. It was us.
You're 100% right. And I also want to say, we built this first version of Audiobook Income Academy, which is the name we came up with, which is the name we still have and everything.
I came up with that name.
We built it over a few months. It was like 6 or 8 hours of content. Then we launched it in September 2018.
Wait, we created the whole thing in 1 month in our summer house in Denmark.
Yes, we did. Because there was a launch date. Because there was this Cancun Mastermind event. So we had to have it ready. Because that's where
we continued doing videos every other day at that same time.
And we built the course in a month. Yeah.
It was insane.
It wasn't the best course in the world, but it was the best one that we could create given the people that we were back then. They were just created on Microsoft PowerPoint slides.
Yeah. It's funny, the YouTube videos at that time, some of them are kind of infamous. Like the one where I throw the chair off the roof and it breaks. A lot of people love that one.
That shit is infamous. Yeah, that shit's hilarious. Also, the road to 10K.
You running with the ladder on top of your head.
That's a legendary one.
Alex, you know what videos I'm talking about?
I saw the one with the chair. I didn't see the ladder one, though.
Oh, my God. I'm going to show it to you afterwards. The ladder one is amazing.
Yeah, you have to see that.
Oh, Sparta! How the video starts. It was actually hilarious. But
I want to say real quick, of those videos we did every other day for 6 months, I've taken some of them down because people still watch them and then they the advice we give in publishing is completely different now than it is back then. So the ones that aren't consistent anymore, I took them down just for anyone that tries to go back and look at it.
Right. Yes. But when we launched the course in September 2018, we made $50,000 or $53,000 the first day that shit launched. So it was $997. We gave a 50% discount for everyone day one, and we made 103 or something sales. Mm-hmm. And that was sick. That was kind of the turning point. That's when this course shit got real. Oh my God, we have 100 students now. That's what made this shit real. Mm-hmm. And then our focus shifted 100% towards the online course and helping people build publishing businesses.
No, that day was retarded.
It's on YouTube. It's vlogged. The whole day is vlogged. That first sale when I was piss drunk is vlogged. You can see it on YouTube. It's so fucking drunk that day.
And then we had caviar with the infamous Cassie later that day.
We had caviar with a scammer, an actual scammer. We thought he was cool and stuff at the time.
Man, there's so many twists and turns to this whole thing.
He's just like a sociopathic scammer. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Then since then, focused on the course, focused on students, got tons of results for people. We really did tons of results because this audiobook stuff people didn't know. And then what we were teaching them, it just worked. Then 2019, we rebuilt the course because we want to make it better. Then as time goes on, we rebuilt it again and just been working on our course business ever since. And where we are now we're a proper education company called publishinglife.com with 7 full-time employees, a proper team, fat ass payroll, making millions of dollars. But that's where we are now.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's where we are now.
Yeah. Fast forward super quickly over the next 2 years.
Just getting started, baby.
Yeah.
All right. That's the story.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's you kind of just jumped 2 years there, but
I don't know what there is to talk about in between.
Yeah, there's not that much to say. It's Audiobook Income Academy became our everything, and we rebuilt it, made it better, continued making YouTube videos, learned ads, webinar stuff, invested a lot in education and masterminds and things like that, and did a lot of traveling, lived in Bali for 8 months, went to all these crazy places. Me and you both got married. I had a son 6 months ago.
A lot did happen in that time.
A lot of other details, but what we've said is do what I want to focus on. It's kind of from the way beginning to when we started finding success, and then ever since then we've just been working on a lot of stuff now. And maybe we could cover the second half in detail another time. But there we go.
A lot happened in that time, but these were the important details.
Mm-hmm. And then let's say currently where we are right now. Okay, the date is January. I'll just say January because I don't want people to feel like, oh, I'm listening to this 3 weeks after it was recorded, because that might be the case. I don't know. It's January. I'm living in the Netherlands. We're right in the middle of COVID.
January 2021.
2021. And yeah, traveling is obviously very challenging with COVID. Christian, where are you at?
I'm in Hawaii with my wife, Charlotte, who also has her own online course business now that I've helped her with. She's absolutely killing it with her own business. It's brandbabe.com.
But first, you got her into publishing, and she built a publishing business.
We got her into publishing in 2018. Like after we started making some YouTube videos, we didn't have a course at this time. Maybe we did. No, we launched it. I don't fucking remember. Yeah. But anyway, she got into publishing. She's made a ton of passive income with it.
You guys met on a hike in Hawaii.
Hold on. Still to this day, she gets paid about $2,000 a month. She hasn't touched it in over a year. Mm-hmm. And she capped out at a lot more, but it dwindles off over time if you do absolutely nothing with it. Right? We met in Hawaii, dated for 2 years, got married like 2 months ago. Now we're doing our thing.
Mm-hmm.
And going forward from here, we just, publishinglife.com is our absolutely everything. It's our publishing education company. And we want to be massive innovators in the industry, make people so much more money than anybody else can help them make in this niche, and just in the entire industry as a whole of making money. We have tons of big plans. We have a new publishing model that we're working on right now that it is going to be the concept for our next online course we're going to be creating. You're writing a book called The Publishing Life, which is going to recap a lot of stuff we talked about today. Mm-hmm. It's just exciting. Mm-hmm. We're doing big things. We're making a lot of money. We're going to make a lot more money. We're going to help other people make way more money. And we're actually, I fucking love my life. I live the best life in the world. Peace out.
Okay, so this episode's gone on for a long time, so I don't want to talk in more details. The last thing I do want to say to you, Alex, do you have any questions about anything or comments? Because you haven't really said, you've had nothing to say. We were telling our story.
I'm really sorry.
Let you talk if you have anything to say.
No, it would have interrupted the flow, but no questions really. The one thing I want to point out for people is maybe just like what my biggest takeaway from the story is, right? Mm-hmm. It's committed consistency. That's what it is. There is a lot more that goes into this. And we can talk about that in another episode, because I feel like I've done a decent job of identifying those things, like coming from the outside and now inside deep in the publishing life. Like I see what those things are, but the foundation of it all is committed consistency. Without that, it doesn't really matter what else you have. It's all going to fall apart. So like, it didn't matter what you guys were doing. And there's another thing too, like, all the bullshit jobs, going through college and doing all the things that you really didn't want to do. That was key too, because that sort of trains the muscle as an entrepreneur of doing things that you don't want to do, which is a part of the game. It's a part of the process. But when you have the right mindset behind it, it just doesn't even matter. You don't even think about it. And because it might even be fun at that point to do these little things that you don't want to do. So, for anyone listening, just keep grinding it out. Whatever you're doing, just see it through, because you probably will make it onto the other side. There's so many people that we've taught that, like, had they just stuck it out for a little bit longer, they would have broken through to the other side, but they quit right before everything's about to change. And it's a huge disservice to yourself to quit at something that you should continue forward with. So, that's my main takeaway. It's an inspiring message, and yeah, this is just the beginning, like you guys said.
Can I make my last comment? Alex, everything you just said is so freaking on point. Everything you just said. That's my last comment.
You're way more well-spoken than we are.
I know, it's crazy. You're so freaking articulate and well-spoken, and you take your thoughts and you just say them perfectly.
You take complex stories and ideas, you mash them up into a beautiful sentence.
Yeah.
That's very easy to understand. It is one of
my strong suits. It is one of my strong suits. I will say that. So
I cannot wait to go through your story.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Next episode, though.
Next episode.
Yeah. Okay, so that, I guess, wraps up this episode. The next one, we will be diving into Alex's story, and I know it vaguely, but I'm really excited to hear all the details and really what you felt like in the thing. Life before publishing, life before college, sort of what life was like growing up. But anyway, we'll get into that in the next episode. If you like this episode, please, if you are a super kind person, could leave a 5-star review. Would be incredible. Subscribe to the podcast. Besides that, anything else you guys want to say?
No, just thank you. And
that's it. This was fun.
Next episode.
Yeah. Peace.